If you're a technology leader in finance, there's a huge question hanging over your entire operation. It's about your core systems, the very engines that power your business. And for a lot of you, let's be honest, those engines are really starting to show their age. So let me ask you directly, which one is it? Is that system an asset, actively driving your business forward? Or has it become a burden, a kind of black box that's just holding you back? Because after 15 years, or sometimes even longer, many of these systems become exactly that, a black box. You know how it is, staff turns over, the original suppliers are long gone, documentation is scattered or just plain missing. And what you're left with is this critical piece of tech that's become a huge, almost incomprehensible barrier to innovation. And that's not just a tech problem, that's a massive business problem. There's a name for this. We call it the knowledge gap. It's this silent erosion of understanding about your own technology. As people walk out the door and documents get stale, the complete picture of your system just shatters into a million pieces, creating a very real wall that stops progress dead in its tracks. So let's dive a little deeper into this black box dilemma. This knowledge gap, it creates something we call a knowledge drain. It's like a hidden tax on every single thing you try to do. It's not just that you're missing a few documents. It actively hurts your ability to compete. Innovation slows to a crawl, and really important technical decisions end up being based on guesswork and gut feelings instead of solid data. And for many leaders, this perception has become a painful reality. The thing that should be your greatest technological asset now feels like a dead weight tied around your neck. But what if we could fundamentally change that? And that brings us to the solution. Instead of thinking about a costly, incredibly risky rip-and-replace project, what if you could unlock the decades of knowledge that are currently trapped inside that black box? This right here, this is the paradigm shift. We're talking about going from dead inventory to a living asset. It's about taking all that fragmented, tribal knowledge locked in people's heads and turning it into a unified, accessible knowledge graph. What was once a burden on innovation now becomes the very thing that enables your agility. So how does this actually happen? How do you go from a burden to an asset? Well, it's really a three-step process. First, Gen AI does a super deep analysis. It parses everything from the source code to old documents and change logs to pull out the context. Then, second, it builds a unified knowledge graph. Think of it like a living, breathing map of your system. And finally, it creates a lasting corporate asset, preserving all this critical knowledge so it's not dependent on any single person. Now, once you have this living asset, it completely changes how your teams operate. It fundamentally shifts the entire basis for how you make decisions. This is a massive shift from guesswork to certainty. Instead of relying on that one key person's experience, your architects can now accurately predict the impact of any new requirement. They can actually compare multiple evidence-based options for architectural choices and truly quantify the trade-offs. This means you can make rapid, high-frequency, and most importantly, informed decisions. The ideas are powerful, for sure, but what really matters are the real-world results. So let's take a look at the numbers, because they're pretty staggering. First off, document quality. Just imagine going from a system where less than half of your documentation is even reliable to one where it's 99% synchronized and trustworthy. It's not a static library anymore. It becomes a living, interactive resource. Okay, next up, modernization. For those huge, critical, and often painfully slow projects to upgrade your legacy tech, clients are seeing an 88% increase in efficiency. That's potentially years of work, just accelerated dramatically. And how about risk and compliance? For financial institutions, this is absolutely non-negotiable. Problem response time plummets from over 4 hours down to just 5 minutes. That is a total game changer for business continuity. But look, these aren't just abstract numbers we're throwing around. Let's look at our real-world case study. This is a leading life insurance tech organization that was facing this exact 15-year knowledge gap problem. The difference here is it's night and day. Analyzing a new business requirement, that went from taking 2 weeks down to just 10 to 20 minutes. And onboarding a new developer, that was slashed from a painful 3 to 6 months to just 2 or 3 weeks. That's a massive injection of speed and agility right into the heart of the business. So what does all of this mean strategically? It means we really have to reframe how we think about our most critical, long-standing systems. The bottom line is this: your legacy system doesn't have to be a roadblock to innovation. In fact, by unlocking all the knowledge hidden inside it, it can become the stable, powerful foundation for your agile future.
And it all comes down to this really simple but incredibly powerful philosophy. Seek knowledge for application, inherit the old to create the new. It's about respecting the decades of business logic that's already built into your systems and then using that knowledge to build a better, faster, and way more innovative future. So, this leaves us with one final question for you to really think about as you look at your own technology landscape. Is your enterprise knowledge ready to be unlocked?